Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Laura, and I will be your host for this session. Just a couple of quick housekeeping points before we get started. To those listening, you don't need to worry about trying to check your camera or your mic as the platform is set to disable those. But that doesn't mean that we don't want to hear from you. We most definitely do. The chat box function is open, and we encourage you to get involved. So as you listen, please feel free to pop your thoughts and questions in there. We'll spend the second half of our session speaking to our panel, and we'll put as many of your questions to them as we possibly can. The final housekeeping point is just to let you know that we're currently streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So this is the fourth session in our Inspiring Future Leaders series. This series has been created to celebrate and showcase the journeys and fantastic achievements of our current Black leaders at Enterprise Rent-A-Car. It's safe to say over the past few weeks, they've given great insight and tips to help us all. I know I have my takeaways and book recommendations already. Thank you very much, Bami. And I'm sure today will be no different. So for those who've joined us on previous weeks, welcome back. And for anyone who is with us for the first time, it's great to have you all here. The previous 3-week sessions were on resilience, communication, and authenticity. So if you missed them, or you just want to watch them again, they're available via the link that my colleague is popping into the chat box now, or you can jump onto YouTube and search Enterprise Rent-A-Car jobs. Today's session is focusing on responsibility, the responsibility that businesses have to drive positive change in their communities. As a member of Enterprise's recruitment team, I spend a lot of my time speaking with my counterparts from other businesses, and I hear about so many great internal initiatives. Networks to bring underrepresented employees together, training sessions to educate the wider workforce on topics of inclusion, and events to celebrate employees and their differences. And these are all vital to encourage further advancement of underrepresented employees into more senior roles. But as the UK's employers, how do we get to that inclusive workforce in the first place? Well, the answer is not just to attract the diverse talent that already exists. The answer is to ensure that we're acting to enable everyone the ability to seek out and secure training, education, and skills development, regardless of their ethnicity or background. In the UK today, there are 5.6 million registered businesses, each with their part to play. I know I speak for many of my colleagues when I say how proud I am to work for a company that recognises that need. In 1957, Jack Taylor founded Enterprise, and he had a very strong vision. Not to be the biggest or the most wealthy company, but to be the best. To be a business that valued people and benefited its community through its daily actions. Today, we see that playing out in many forms. So yes, we do have those networks, and we have events that celebrate our fantastic diverse workforce. But we also have countless external initiatives too. Jack's vision was to hold our business true to 8 values we still operate with today. One of which is that we strengthen our communities one neighbourhood at a time, which we do both daily, in local locations and globally. The most recent global initiative which actions this is Road Forward. Through Road Forward, we've pledged $50 million to address racial and social inequality. And from the summer of 2020, we have partnered and financially supported many local charities who are active in this space. Before I introduce you to one of those charities, I wanted to bring in one of my colleagues, someone who works with me in the northeast of England and will be working on this charity partnership, Jane Murari. Jane, it would be great for you to please introduce yourself and speak a little about your thoughts on this topic.
Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for joining in. My name is Jane Murari. I was born in Kenya, but I'm originally from Leicester. I went to the Mumford University where I studied law and graduated. Now, I am currently working for Enterprise Rent-A-Car as an assistant branch manager in one of our store branches in Loughborough. In reference to what Laura has said, before applying for Enterprise, as a graduate, it was important to me that I research what the company does for the local community. It's important to me that my employer is actively helping people within the local community, whether by donating time, money, and resources. Now, I'm a law graduate, The one thing I regret at university is that I was not involved in any initiatives to be able to support the local community. It's something that plays close to my heart. It's important that as graduates like myself, that we are informed and educated on how our support can have a positive impact on the local community. Now, working for Enterprise Rent-A-Car, I've had many opportunities to be able to give back to my community, whether by coming in non-workwear days and donating to the local charities, food banks, or even being able to give my own time and resources to the local area and to the charities within the local area. It really adds a positive perspective on work life, and it just makes me feel a little bit more happier just coming into work. One of our founding values at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, which Laura has mentioned before, one that resonates with me the most, is that we strengthen our communities one neighbourhood at a time. This is not just about giving back to the community, it's about togetherness, what we can do together for one another. Whether by just giving back your time, your resources, I feel like it really just takes that mindset of work just being a job by creating opportunities for employees to get involved with work within the communities. Now, these were the values that I researched as a graduate before I chose to come and work for Enterprise Rent-A-Car. These are the values that John Taylor had when he first began the company. Now these have become my values, and I plan on applying them in every single day of my life. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll pass you back over to Laura.
Thank you so much, Jane. That was really insightful. I love that feeling of togetherness. I think that's a really important point. And many of the things that you've just mentioned will probably come back up later in the Q&A. So thank you. But for now, I'd like to also introduce you to another fantastic person who's joining us, Varsha Palmer. Varsha is an executive officer at Equality Action and one of the community charities that we're working with in the Loughborough region. Varsha, it's great to have you join us. Welcome.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm Varsha Palmer. I was also born in Kenya, but I now work and live in Loughborough. We're absolutely delighted to be part of this webinar. For me, I just think as charities, it's quite difficult to engage with businesses, and this is just a great leap in the right direction. I'll tell you a little bit about Equality Action. We were established in 1969 in Loughborough, Leicestershire, and it was very much set up because there's a lot of people coming across from the South Asian continent, and it was to support them with language barriers, being able to kind of integrate into society. So over the last 50 plus years, we've done a lot of work around building community cohesion, celebrating the diverse communities that we have in Loughborough, a lot of stuff around health and well-being, encouraging people to be active in society. Some of our work is around advice, so we do things like debt, housing, benefits, immigration, education. We're also a reporting centre. Hate crime, particularly race-related hate crime, is probably one of the biggest discrimination issues that go around. So we're a reporting centre and support people. What is equality and diversity? I'm not going to preach about the Equality Act. Most likely you probably all know about it, but it is about working with the protected characteristics, and some of them are things like race, sex, disability, religion and belief. There's a whole list, but you can Google that in your own time. Why is it important that equality and diversity is observed? Protecting people from discrimination. It's about knowing how to fight for inequality. Ensuring services are there for people that are fair and accessible to all. Adding new skills to the workforce. I mean, it's brilliant listening to the enterprise diversity that's going on. And I think the ethos of the organization really resonates with what charities like ours are trying to achieve. It's promoting innovation, and it's all about building communities and bringing people together. How can you support equality and diversity? I think the key thing is, as Jane said, look at the diverse goals of the organization that you're working with. Take the time to learn about different cultures, share your experiences, but hear from other people, because unless you kind of do that talking, networking, connecting, it's so easy for people to have these kind of preconceived ideas in their head about other people and other communities. So it's so important that you get to learn about different cultures. Drive a positive change through your organization. Understand the diversity that you bring to the organization. I think celebrate that, because I just think Loughborough is a fantastic example of the diverse range of people that live here, and how we, kind of celebrate events, things like Eid, Diwali, Christmas. You get everybody joining in. So it's so great to see that sort of an atmosphere going on. And then communicate and educate. Volunteering over the pandemic, we found, just nationally, there was like 21% of people in England were actually formally volunteering at some stage throughout the pandemic. This involved things like befriending schemes, sewing scrubs and masks, mutual aid groups, things like picking up prescriptions for people that couldn't get out of the house and do shopping. And then as the vaccine rolled out, it was encouraging leafleting, promoting why people should get vaccinated. So I think there's so many different ways that, this last year has really showed how people have volunteered and got on board. Locally in Loughborough, we set up a group called Loughborough Against Corona, and we had over 900 volunteers that signed up within the first month of the lockdown. We partnered up with the local council, the university, students, people in the community, and they supported over 3,000 shopping trips and prescription pickups. There were thousands of masks being sewn by people in the community. There's so many people, because they were stuck at home, we actually delivered the fabric and how they need to make it, and then we'd pick them up again. So I think there's just so many innovative ways of people being able to help, even though they were stuck at home. 1,500 bottles of sanitizers were donated. So it was just a lot of organizations, community groups, individuals coming together. The different ways of volunteering. So I know in the past, people always think about, it's not just about a bucket shaking or charity shops. I'm knocking that, because I think that's really important as well. But there's so many other ways to get involved. Just as an example, as a charity, we really suffer on having the skills to do social media. I'm pretty old school, so I can just about do Facebook and Instagram. But in terms of kind of selling our organization, selling the work that we do, social media is a big barrier for us. And I think this is where people, students, volunteers can come on board. If somebody's studying social media, it's a perfect way to help a local charity in your area to kind of up their game, but also you're getting a hands-on experience of working in community settings. Team volunteering. So, going back about 3-4 months ago, Loughborough University, some of the students did like a live concert webinar kind of thing where people could just join in and watch. And people were donating, and they raised £350 for us, which was, it might seem small to some people, but for our organisation, that's a big deal. So it's just so nice that, there is volunteers out there that really want to help organisations. Become a trustee, it's something that if it's of interest, look at a local charity, because they're always looking for trustees. They need people that are going to come on board with the same ethos to help drive their work forward. And then community champions. A quick example of this, we have several projects that are around mental health, well-being. And what we do is, for long-term sustainability, try and encourage people in the community to become champions. We have mental health first aiders. We have people that become walk leaders, chair-based exercise leaders. And I think this is great because the community feels empowered. People are then being able to reach people in their own community. So there's not the barrier of, oh, it's somebody from a different background trying to tell me what to do. And I just think it's a great opportunity of getting people more on board with being active in this locality. How do you get involved? So search charities, there's so many volunteering opportunities. So if you kind of go onto some of the sites, and if anybody wants any further information, Laura's got our details, get in touch with us. We can help you get in touch with charities that need volunteering. Notice boards, you still have community centres, faith groups, churches, mosques, where there are notice boards, and they quite often have volunteering opportunities. Supermarkets are, again, another good place where they have a notice board. And then look at things like websites and other volunteering opportunities. The benefits of volunteering, you're going to gain new skills. You're definitely going to help a charity or a place that you're going to be volunteering for. Chance to meet new people, make a big difference to the locality that you're in. You're giving something back to the community. And then I think it's being valued and a part of the team. I'm going to stop there because I could probably carry on talking forever. But if there are any questions or any information that you'd like, Laura's got our details. I'd love to hear from anybody. And I just want to say a massive thank you to Enterprise for getting us involved in this.
Oh, thank you so much, Varsha. Just absolutely huge wealth of knowledge there. Great initiative that you're running in the Loughborough region. And Varsha's absolutely right. We will pop details of Equality Action forward for you. Some really key points I think that Varsha mentioned there, 21% of the UK population were volunteering through the pandemic. That's huge, and that's fantastic, and what a great society we live within. But that could always be more, and that could be you. So please do take those points on board. So thank you very much for joining us, Varsha. I know you can't stick around for the Q&A, but we will forward any questions that anyone has over to you. I'm now going to welcome the panel. So Jane, if you would like to join us again, and then we also have Ash, we have Bola, we have Aaron, and we have Christine. So if you would all like to come and join us. Thankfully, you have already had the opportunity to introduce yourself, and we'll come back to you, Jane, in a moment. But if we could come to you now, Ash, would you mind just taking a moment to introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Ashley Thomas. I'm one of the talent development specialists for the South East England group of Enterprise Rent-A-Car. And what that means is I take care of the development of everyone's career in our group, be it they've just started with us and they want to understand the role, they want to get into a leadership position, or if they're already in a leadership position and they just want help with or support with tips and tricks that they can use to employ in their daily lives in order to get to the next step of their career.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Ash. Aaron, would you mind introducing yourself, please?
Morning, I'm Aaron. I'm a store manager of Enterprise in Manchester in the Aldringham region.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us. And we also have Christine and Bola. Christine, would you mind introducing yourself, please?
Yeah, hi, my name is Christine Mendes and I am an area manager in the South East London region. So I look after 5 branches across South London, so kind of ranging from Gravesend to Lewisham, and I'm responsible for the daily operations of the branch and looking after the people.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Christine. And last but by no means least, Bola, would you mind introducing yourself, please?
Hi everyone, my name is Bola. I joined the company in 2019 and I recently got promoted to assistant manager this year, July, sorry. And so I currently work at the Sidcup branch, which is one of the biggest branch in the area as well, one of the flagship store in the UK. And yeah, my role is to obviously help my colleagues, develop my colleagues and train them to be a better employee and also obviously support each other.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us again, Bola. Bola, I'm going to come to you first, if you don't mind. We've obviously talked a lot around businesses supporting the community. Why do you think that's so important? Why is that so important to you?
Okay, great question. So before I answer that question, I actually have a definition that I was going to start with. It's called corporate social responsibility. So basically when businesses need to take care of their employees when they feel like they need to do it. So according to Forbes, it's defined as a range of activities that enable businesses to play a positive role in the society, whether it's through sustainability, policy, employee welfare, or corporate fundraising. But why do people actually do this? Like, why is it important for you to do this? As a business, not only does it help you improve your brand image, but it also shows your local community that you care about them. Either that's through raising money, getting your employees to come and help doing like local events. One of the things that I found in my research was since we actually founded the company in 1957, supporting our community has one of been the biggest thing, one of our values. And I also found out that in 2020, we actually donated $40 million to local food banks like all over the world. So that is pretty much very big. And by doing this, like, we're obviously improving our brand image, developing talent, and also showing people that we're a great business. Not only do we make money, but we also obviously donate some of that money to people around us. And I feel like that's really, really meaningful, because as an employee, if you go out and help your local communities, it gives you a sense of ownership, like you're obviously helping people around you. Jane mentioned that when she was in uni, she regretted not doing that. To be fair, I also regretted not doing that because I feel like I should have gotten more involved when I was in uni. But obviously, what Enterprise does is obviously to give you that second chance to help your local communities and just, regain, should we say, like gain a redemption sort of. So yeah, that's one of the things that we do at Enterprise here.
Fantastic, thank you. And it's really good to hear sort of the sense that it gives you as an employee as well. It's it's a fantastic thing to do, but also it's not just a financial contribution, it is actually boots on the ground getting out there. That's great. We'll come back and probably talk about that a bit more as well. Aaron, I'd like to bring the same question to you, and I know that your experience maybe before you joined us at Enterprise, but still the same question is true. Why is it important? Why do businesses need to give back?
Well, it's just really important to firstly try and get people on equal footing. Not everyone's had the same start in life, and people do come from deprived areas and don't have the same opportunities. So that's one reason why I think it's really important. It gives people equal footing and helps develop skills that they may not be able to gain themselves. Things I was involved with before Enterprise when I was in college actually was running youth schemes. So on a Wednesday, a Friday and a Saturday, I'd pick up kids from the local area, and this is not far from my age. We come from a fairly deprived area, got them playing football, got them in cooking lessons as well. And it was mainly just to keep them away from the other side that they could fall into, the traps they could fall into, and which could be gangs and that kind of thing. But I think it's really important that we get these kind of people and give them the opportunities that they might not be able to see. They might not have the network or family around them to kind of get them on the right path. So that's why it's really important.
Brilliant, thank you. You obviously did this before you entered into your graduate career and joined us at Enterprise. Do you think there were any skills that you developed in doing so that helped you with your career?
Definitely. A lot of leadership skills. I had to do a lot of speaking in front of groups. I had to kind of take charge, and especially when it was people not far from my age and people that did know me, it got me to be able to speak in front of groups a lot more. Planning was a big part of it. I had to plan the sessions, and a lot of organisation. I had to write letters to the council and apply for grants and stuff like that. So it did gain a lot of skills myself.
Christine, I'm going to come to you with pretty much the same question as well. Obviously, as an area manager in our business, I'm sure that you've been involved in multiple initiatives. Can you just tell us your thoughts on why you think they're important, and potentially anything that you think has sort of helped within that, whether you've developed skills or seen other people develop those skills?
Yeah, I think Bola and Aaron both make really good points. I think as an employee and an employer, it's our responsibility to make sure that everybody's kind of on a level playing field. So where we have an opportunity and a platform to be able to help the people around us, because ultimately our businesses run off of local communities. We service our local community. So it's really important to look after them in the same way that, they look after us essentially. So I think getting involved is a massive part that we can play. And again, for the employees themselves, I think it gives them a lot of confidence. It gives them a lot of things that they can get involved in actively to be able to help somebody, which gives them a sense of achievement, but also kind of the organisation skills that Aaron talked about, what Bola talked about, being able to put something together and actually execute it and see it from, day one to the follow-up scheme. I think it's really important. So yeah, I think for both sides, the community and for us, I think it achieves a lot. So yeah, it makes perfect sense for everybody to get involved, and they're a lot of fun as well.
And have you personally been involved in quite a few of these?
Yeah, so we do one, I think we do 4 every quarter. Obviously last year was slightly different, where we couldn't do as much as we would have hoped to. But I think the most fun that we've had is we get involved in Deptford Food Bank, which is close to where we are at the minute, and we do a food drive there, which kind of looks after the local community around Lewisham, where we help donate our time to pack and send food to the local area, which again was a lot of fun, and we got to meet loads of different people from loads of different walks of life and hear really interesting stories, which I think helps you grow as a person as well.
Absolutely, thank you, Christine. As you can tell, it's not just the management team that do this, it is people from all different roles within our business. Ash, you're obviously coming from a different strand of our business today, being in the training department. Am I right in thinking that you've also been involved in these initiatives?
Oh, absolutely. So before I was in this department, I was also a branch manager as well. So I was doing the exact same things in terms of the food drives. We have as a group, we have like what we like to call a day of caring as well, where we go out and we support other businesses out just in the southeast of England. Could be any kind of business. So we've done we've helped out to make with the maintenance of nature reserves before. Again, the food banks. I personally at the moment am partnering with Enterprise is partnering. I'm just part of the mentoring scheme for bridge builders, where we go into local schools and we help with the mentoring of children as well, just to help them with their development and understanding that they still have opportunities in later life as well. And that's and even that again is that partnering with Black children, helping them to understand and have that visual representation of other people, of other Black mentors that can be successful in their careers.
Great. Again, another very different way of giving back, something that a lot of people potentially hadn't have thought of as well. That's great, Ash. Thank you. When you've been doing initiatives like that, do you feel like it's helped you to develop a network of people around you?
Oh, absolutely. And to be fair, I know you asked the question earlier in terms of not doing it at university, and that was one of the. I feel like my university experience was so sheltered, and I really do regret that, because I wasn't getting out there and doing these type of things. And I feel like me as a person, I'd have so much more connections to so many more people and have built so many more skills if I was actively networking during my university experience. So that's definitely one thing I'd always put out to everyone. Please do make sure that you are volunteering, that you are getting involved in open days and community events in your local areas for your universities and with your universities. I feel like if I was doing that, and if I was doing that, I'd have so many more connections. Doing that now in this role, there's so many people that I speak to and so many more skills that I've taken on from the people that have different roles than the role that I have. And that really that's really helped to enrich my experience and everything that I'm then able to offer to everyone else in my group.
Thank you. So I've just got a couple more questions that I want to put to you guys, but please, just a reminder for those listening, we are open for questions in the chat box, so please do feel free to pop anything through there. Jane, I'm going to come back to you, because I think this network piece ties back to the togetherness that you mentioned in the introduction. Just from your perspective, why is that important? Why do you need that feeling of togetherness? As an employee, is that something that you look for on a day-to-day basis?
To me personally, Laura, the way I think of it is that there's a famous quote that says that no man is an island. Now, when Enterprise was being started, I can't imagine that John Taylor did not have the community sort of like backing him when he started Enterprise Rent-A-Car. And obviously, he's managed to continue that throughout. Myself as an individual, as an employee of Enterprise, I want to feel represented, and I also want to be able to represent my community, something that's important to me. And for that reason, I feel like that feeling of togetherness, we're not saying we're going to change the world in the scale of a day, but we're saying together we're going to try, and we're saying one neighborhood at a time. We're not saying that we're going to change the UK all at once. No, that's not what we're saying. We're saying hand in hand together, we're going to be able to achieve what it is that we want to achieve. And I feel like that it just gives you a strong sense of belonging, not only for the company that you work for, because you know that they're involved in such initiatives, but also for your own community. The fact that you're able not only to be represented, but also able to represent them.
What a powerful message. Hand in hand together, we're going to drive for this change. Absolutely. I feel like I'm hand in hand with all of you now. Definitely. Okay, so I do want to open up to see if there are any questions that come through. Raj, has there been anything that's gone into the chat box so far?
Yes, Laura, we do. And I'm wondering, so the question is, have you noticed candidates coming through and applying for roles talking about community work? And if so, how do you view their application form?
Okay, great. Thank you, Raj. That would be a great one for you, Christine, if you don't mind. In your role as area manager, I'm sure you see a few application forms and do quite a few interviews. Is that thread of being involved in initiatives and charities something that you've noticed popping up? And if so, is it something that you've valued?
Yes, I think it's right now. I think everyone's looking for a way to stand out, because if you think about it, kind of the application forms and our internal promotions and also the external candidates that we bring into the business. Everyone's looking to stand out, and everyone's got fantastic grades and all of those good things that, you know, in terms of merit that they get. I think everyone's almost on a level playing field until somebody can say, hey, look, I've done this and this is how it's helped me grow personally, and also this is how I've helped somebody else. And I think that's definitely something I look, because if somebody's actively involved in a local community or does something which helps somebody else, I think that shows a lot about their character and who they are going to be. And ultimately our business is very much a people business where we develop people. So if you can get involved and do that from an age of not being an enterprise, then that's who you are, and that tells me a lot about who you are as a person. So yes, very important.
Brilliant, thank you. That speaks a lot of the candidates' values and who they are as a person, as you absolutely say, Christine. Aaron, I'm gonna bring this over to you, because obviously as an experienced branch manager, I'm sure you also have quite a bit of experience in interviewing and viewing candidates' application forms. Anything that you would sort of add to that in terms of, you know, what you think about the involvement initiatives? Anything with regards to the skills that you might assume that person therefore has?
Well, the main thing for me is, you know, customer service is a big part of what we do. And if you're willing to take time out of your personal life and essentially do work for free and go the extra mile for free, it shows that you really care about people. And that's something to me is important to have in my business and what I look for in people. Also, obviously, it helps with skills in terms of communication and stuff like that. But the main thing is, if you care that much about people and you're willing to do stuff out your own time, you're going to be a great person to have as part of an organisation like us.
A few of you have mentioned already that you didn't get involved in this type of thing at university, and it's potentially a regret of yours. Do we have any panelists today that did get involved in this type of initiative? Anyone that was involved in any charities or anything like that when they studied?
I did get involved, but not as much as I wanted to. So when I was still living in Catford, when I first came to the country, I was working for the British Art Foundation in Lewisham. And mostly for me, as I said, I've just come to the country, zero idea about the cultures, zero idea about how to communicate. So I think we spoke last week about our accents and how you come across to people. So one of the things that I actually did was obviously working for the British Art Foundation, just so I could obviously interact with more people, understand the way they talk, you know, just to like understand the UK more. So that was something that I definitely did. And whilst I did that, just like what Aaron said, I actually gained so many skills from doing that. So for example, my communication skills improved because obviously I listened more to what people had to say and then obviously provide solutions. My interaction skills, like how to communicate with different people. Also work experience, because I've just come from Nigeria and to a new different country where the way we work was completely different, the way you communicate is completely different, like the way of life is completely different. So by obviously working for the British Art Foundation, I got so much work experience from doing that. So in terms of sales, customer service, which is then obviously helped me in my career at enterprise, because at enterprise, you deal with so many customers from different areas of life. So by doing that, I think that's really helped. So I wish I did obviously get involved more, but that has really helped me so far in my career.
Right. Fantastic that you were able to do something so valuable, but also do it in a way that developed skills for you that you knew would then push you forward in your further career. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Bola. Raj, do we have anything else in the chat box?
Yep, I think we've briefly touched on it earlier as well, Laura, but one of the questions I've been asked is, how have the initiatives you've been involved in impacted your career?
Just after I finished secondary school and I was studying in college, one thing I started doing was I got involved with Lewisham Council, and I was going around to all Lewisham schools doing mentoring for students. I can't tell you how great that was. I feel like I learned so many skills from being able to do that. Not only that, but that made me really passionate about giving back to our local communities, helping people to understand that even though you may feel like the odds may be stacked against you and that you don't have the same opportunities as everyone else in life, if you really throw yourself into your work and you really apply yourself, there's nothing you can't achieve. And that's something that I learned from trying to give back to other people in my local community. which I've really taken with me, even in this role and in my career as well. Sometimes you get so stuck into your day-by-day process that you forget to think about what else you can achieve outside of that as well. And it's just really important to remember that as a team, like not just your company, but as a team, like with your community, there's so much that we can all achieve together. And I feel like Enterprise is the right place for that, not specifically because I don't know if everyone knows about the Road Forward initiative that we have as well, but that's just something that Enterprise Rent-A-Car, coming from Chrissy Taylor herself, our current CEO, is pushing forward for us to help children in their early development and inclusive of teens with their university preparation as well. So us giving back to our local communities to make sure that everyone gets the same opportunity in life.
Thank you. Great stuff. Christine, I'd like to come to you with the same question, actually, if you don't mind. So we've thought about the charity initiatives from a community perspective and from a candidate perspective, but what about you? What do you think that being involved in these initiatives has done for your career?
I think I get involved in something called, it's called Business and Community, and it allows me to mentor 5 or 6 different individuals from all different types of ethnic minority backgrounds into leadership roles. And that has taught me that rather than looking, so I think when you work for a company for a really long time, you kind of get almost tunnel vision into looking at the company from what you think and what you're around. And I realized that most companies aren't like that. So for me, it's kind of opened my eyes to how it is outside of the company, which then allows me to then look at inside the company and have a really good view of what we do really well, and actually if there's anything that we can improve on and what I can help the others with. So I think it's helped me become a better leader because it allows me to look at different sides of what we do and kind of alter that to make me a better leader and obviously my team better. So yeah, I think it teaches you a lot about you and what you do, and also kind of looking at things from very different perspectives. It's important for me to look at things from all angles versus just one angle.
Thank you. Yeah, really, really human aspect to that, Christine. I think that represents us as a company. We learn, we evolve, we grow. We are absolutely not at that utopia yet, and it's nice to hear that real human side represented there as well. So I'm going to come around to each of you with the same question. We hopefully have students listening who are thinking about getting involved in this space before moving into their further careers. Do you have any top tips? Anything that you would do, anywhere that you looked to find out employers' values, or anything that you would recommend they do to get involved in initiatives? And Jane, I'm going to come to you with this one first, please.
Hi, thank you. Like I said, it's definitely important to research what your employer does for the local community. Now, Varsha has come on here and she's spoken about equality action. If I was at university, this would be something that I'd get involved in. She said that there's so many different places, so many different sort of like adverts out with different ways to get involved. You can even reach out to a company like that, like us, that supports such a charity, and just explain you're at university, you're looking to support your local community, what opportunities do you have available. It's something I regret not doing at university. And if I was aware of opportunities like this with Equity Actions charity, I would have spared the time, whether a week or maybe 1 to 3 days in a month, to get involved in the local charity within my degree.
Thank you very much, Jane. Ola, I can see that you're off mute there, so I'm going to come to you next. How did you end up getting involved with your charitable initiative, and what recommendations would you give to students listening?
So the way I got involved with British Health Foundation was actually through my uncle, because I told him about how I just wanted to understand the culture more, understand people in the UK more. And obviously at that time as a student, I wasn't allowed to obviously work, except I was volunteering. So that's how I actually came across that. And my advice for anyone would just be to just do it. Like, you might feel like you don't have time, but you actually do have time. Like, even though it's just 1 hour of your day, just support your local community, just help them. it actually goes a long way. Like they see what you do and it goes a long way. And not only does it actually obviously help you as a person, but obviously in terms of your work experience. Christian talked about obviously how you talk about you've got so much grades, you do this, you do that, but it could be that one thing that would make you stand out from the other person, and that could be that one thing that would allow you to get that job over somebody else. So just get involved as much as possible. I'm pretty sure that you would obviously learn new things, gain new skills that would obviously help you later in the future, and also meet new people, even a great mentor from doing that.
Great point, actually. And we're going to talk more about mentors next week, but that is an avenue that people probably wouldn't think to look down, but definitely there would be doors open there for you, much like how Ash has mentioned. Ash, any top tips from you on this point?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So for me, guys, when I went to school, I had a mentor. We did like great events for Black students. So one thing that was really important for me was to give back to Black students as well, which is why I was a mentor. So if you feel like that's something that you want to do, I feel like a great way to get involved is just to go to your local community, and you can do that in multiple different ways. You could go to any youth centers, or you could even go to your local community's website. They always post their volunteering opportunities. They're available for you as well. I would always suggest that you do something that's actually and genuinely important to you, because then you'll give it your true effort, and that's when your networking capabilities and stuff really start kicking in. When you speak passionately about something that is something that you genuinely care about, that's when you start really building lasting and meaningful connections with other people as well.
Brilliant. Not just something to pop on your CV, something that actually counts. Brilliant, brilliant advice. Thank you. Aaron, you obviously were involved in things at that early stage in your life. Any tips that you would give?
I was going to say the main thing is it's got to be something that is really, really important to you and something that you really care about, because like Ash said, you're going to put everything into it, and then the people that you connect with there, they're going to be on the same wavelength. So that is a huge thing. But it's just looking for what's needed at the moment. For example, with COVID that's hit, a lot of businesses, like local businesses and stuff, are suffering. A lot of local charities are suffering. A lot of community centres haven't got the funding. So it's looking at what's important now and what people need. That's another aspect to look at.
Thank you. Bringing in your own experience there. I'm pretty sure you would have been knocking on a few doors and trying to get some funding through for your community centre in a situation like this. So great advice. Thank you, Aaron. And by no means least, I'm going to come to you, Christine, to see if you have anything to add to this point to give as advice.
I think everyone's mentioned loads of things that will be helpful. I think if you truly wanted to get involved in something that you cared about, as everybody said, like there's so many avenues, like going on the internet, going to see your local school or whatever, that everyone wants to get involved. I think the first step is just actually doing it. So if you actually go and do it, rather than thinking, yeah, I'm going to do it, and not make any excuses, I think you'll be absolutely fine.
Great stuff. Yeah, take it off the to-do list today and go out and find something to get involved in. Yeah, I love that. Thank you, Christine. Well, thank you all so much for all of your thoughts and your insights. I'm going to cap us off with one final question, which I'm just going to ask to you, Jane. We've talked about so many different aspects of why corporate social responsibility is important, but why do you think it's so important, and why is it important to do that within our local communities?
I think that it's very important to do that within our local community, because first of all, diversity is important within our local community. It's important that every single person feels respected, represented, and included. We must push those barriers down in order to make sure that everybody is afforded an equal opportunity. And I think it's just great for everyone, businesses and the community as well.
Great point to end on. Thank you so much. Well, I would just like to end it there. I would like to thank Varsha so much for joining us from Equality Action. I would like to thank all of our panelists today for all of that wisdom that you've shared. Those top tips are brilliant and hopefully will help people. I'd also like to thank the questions that have come through from the audience too. We've got one more session remaining of this Inspiring Future Leaders series, so please don't miss it. Tune in next week at the same day, same time, and we'll be discussing the importance of mentoring. It's come up today, so you can see it's a topic that we do need to talk about. We'll be sharing more stories on that point, and we'll be giving expert tips on how you can identify the right mentor for you and get the best out of that relationship. We're also going to be in touch with you soon with regards to our Future Black Leaders programme, which is a training opportunity that we'll be running in the coming months to upskill today's students. So once again, a huge thank you for joining us, a massive thank you to the panel, and I hope everybody has a brilliant Friday. Thank you.